I'm doing this video response for a couple of reasons. I mean, one, mainly I saw in your video the title, Obama assassinating the ambassador. That's not what happened. He did not assassinate the ambassador. He by de facto did leave him to die, in one way of speaking. More so the SEALs. But the ambassador more died because of just, poorly protecting it in the first place, not because he actually did anything malfeasant at that moment. He made bad choices, neglected their security, but that moment there was no malfeasance. The SEALs later, there was. But I also hear you kind of reaching for things. I'm talking to military guys, so I want to clear this up for you and anybody who watched. I've had this on my YouTube channel for a while now. Chuck Burns for the USA, where we've talked about this quite at length. Well, I've talked about it, and I've had conversations with a lot of my friends there, we know about this sort of stuff, and pounded the ground, whatever, so to speak. So, here's the deal. Let's start at the very beginning. First off, Libya, Obama enters illegally, okay? No congressional approval to be there. Secondly, he starts his own private war, picking up shoulder-fired rockets that Gaddafi no longer controls, which is a good thing, because if you get your hands on one of these things, get inside of an American airport, you could stay outside the damn airport pretty much, and shoot down a freaking 747 full of 300 fucking people, which is horrible. But let's get that aside. Let's go beyond that, okay? So let's go beyond that. So he's over there, and for a covert action like that, where he's engaging the CIA and doing all the stuff that he's doing actually in the process, he needs congressional approval, not from the whole Congress, not the Full Powers Act. He needs Intelligence Committee approval. He does not get that. Now, let's take this further. What were we doing with those weapons he was picking up? Well, first off, how are we getting them? We were getting them from a lot of the militias around the country that had taken them from Gaddafi forces. A lot of these militias are Ansar al-Sharia, Al-Qaeda related, terrorist leanings. And, they don't want to give them up to us. They definitely don't. They don't want to keep them. In fact, us collecting them up makes us an enemy of them, because money they can get their hands on, better, So, you get the CIA, they're going around, they're assassinating militia leaders and people to obtain these rockets and their arms. So, we're making enemies, which I would postulate and pretty much say it's for certain, though, there's no real way to prove it. However, I can't see another reason. I have a lot of people I know that agree with me on this, that this attack was propagated on our consulate, because we were taking weapons, and we'd done damage to them, hurt leaders, and murdered them, even, assassinated, and they don't like us. They don't get back at us. Okay, now let's go for after that. Cause of the attack, what we were doing there, how we were doing it, to what was happening with these weapons once they were obtained. Where were they going? Were we melting them in a smelt somewhere in Libya? No. Were we shipping them back to America? No. It's a long trip, and it's too far, and then, what? If the weapons come back from Libya, well, how are we getting those? Holy smokes. Are you over there at the CIA assassinating people, collecting weapons, Mr. Obama? No, he's got to find something to do with them. Now, he's got this little war up in here in Syria he wants to go to, that he gets getting involved in way too late, because the point in time where he starts shipping these things, we get Al-Qaeda up in there, basically doing what we did in Vietnam with CIA advisors, they get the Al-Qaedas up there because they can fight, and the Syrians, the rebels, don't know how to fight. So the Al-Qaeda goes in, basically CIA advisor style, shows the rebels how to fight, and the rebels are like, oh, we love you, Al-Qaeda. Swear allegiance to them and everything. So, at this point, it's not a smart maneuver to help the rebels out, because we could be helping out jihadists, our enemies. So Obama wants to get in bed. He wants to get in bed there for some way, shape, or form. I think kind of to protect his butt, because everybody can see through his foreign policy fucking bullshit, which is, people are dying in Libya, we gotta go help them. It's a couple hundred people. When you have thousands dying in Syria and you do nothing. Nothing at all. You're a hypocrite. Your foreign policy is trash. The whole Middle East is trash because of him. He helped the Islamic Muslim Brotherhood get in power in Egypt, Tunisia. We have done no good for this region, believe me. He acts like foreign policy is his thing. He got the toot during the election. Toot away. Toot away at your own inadequacy as a leader, because that's what you're tooting on. But regardless, okay, so he's shipping these things through to Syria. But where is he? How is he getting to Syria? Because you got a lot of countries around Syria. Going through Turkey. If you want to do this, like if anyone wants to argue this point with you, you'd basically just say, well, who was he meeting earlier that night, Ambassador Stevens, before he got killed? Who was at the consulate? The Turkish ambassador. Holy fuck, that kind of lines up pretty conveniently, doesn't it? I mean, well, actually, there's no conveniently. There's no coincidence in life. That Turkish ambassador happens to be there meeting Stevens because we happen to be shipping weapons through Turkey to Syria to Al-Qaeda-linked rebels. To America. But either way, you know, awesome stuff, right? So, by the way, Stevens, Ambassador Stevens, if you want to check him out, look at where he's been in his career, and look at where we've been accused of dealing arms. You'll find a weird congruency. Like he's our ambassador in every place where we're dealing guns. It's like, wow, there can be a coincidence. He must know the gun runner. He is the gun runner. Oh. Enlightenment occurs. Now you see. So, going from there, the attack commences. Now, I am of the belief that the first initial attack on the consulate was to draw them away from the consulate to the annex, because the people that were taking the weapons were at the annex, and they had more of a desire to get them. They knew they couldn't get the whole annex to come rescue the consulate, and they knew they didn't really want the people at the consulate. They wanted to get them all together if they could. It's really interesting that, because first off, how did they rescue those 20 people from the consulate that are still alive, and like not lose anybody beyond the initial 2? And this was a major attack with tens and dozens of people propagating or commencing it. You know, I mean, 5 guys go over, I think is what it was, like that, right? You know, and they get 20 people out of there, nobody gets hurt. Beyond the first initial 2, Sean Smith and Ambassador Stevens, they were let to get away, I think, to be, I mean, this is again speculation, but I think very fair speculation, considering that they were let to get away to the annex where they had a pre-sighted mortar with a spotter, more than likely, you know, and the mortar was definitely pre-sighted and was bolted or mounted to the location it was at with either ground rods or on a steel plate that was mounted to the ground. I mean, something, because they went short, I think they went long, short, or short and long, and then the third round hit like a charm, and they were never very short and they were never very long. Having used a mortar, knowing about mortars, I would tell you that is a placed mortar. They planned on shooting it at that location, and they went and took the attack from the consulate and then commenced that to get everybody from there to here, so that way you kill 2 birds with 1 stone, which is always a smart idea. You may be an asshole for doing it because you're a terrorist, but if I was out to do something like that against my enemies, I would try to do the same. It's a matter of logic. So, this attack happens. Ambassador Smith and the ambassador, Sean Smith, they probably couldn't have been saved. They were a victim of the first attack, but they should have been saved because we should have been paying attention to Benghazi, to the British getting out of there, and all the freaking things that happened that keyed us up to knowing this was coming. Not taking out the forces that we withdrew to normalize. Such a bullshit term. You're going to fight a war, you're not going to fight a war. One of the most dangerous outposts we have in the world, and we are taking away the forces. You know what? If you don't want to have enough people there to protect it, don't be there and don't put Americans at risk, you sissy fuck president. You coward. Thinking that you, because you're this magnanimous leader that's making America, putting it in its place and showing the world what you can do, that we're going to be okay and nobody's going to attack us. Get off your freaking high horse, you arrogant prick. Before you get more people killed. I mean, you're a killer, people, actually, extortion 17, all kinds of things. I digress. So here's the deal. Is that we couldn't have saved them. First 2 guys, Stevens and Smith, but definitely could have saved Doherty and Woods. There's no question about that. I hear you talking about, like, I hear the video response here. I hear this guy from Magpul talking about the missile destroyers off the coast. This is not what they're meant for. This is not really their mission to operate. I mean, like, I don't think they were actually even within like an operational range, to be perfectly honest with you, from my understanding of it. Spectre gunships. There is, I mean, we do all kind. We have special operations in that area. It's the Middle East. I mean, and every time we have special operators anywhere, we have a Spectre gunship nearby. Well, let's not kid ourselves. I'm not going to get into the details of that, but it's a fact. I'm just gonna tell you, they were never gonna pull that thing out. I mean, that was a good. It would have been just that pulling that thing out was like a big deal. You know, it's like when you pull the Spectre out, it's because the guys on the ground are in some serious shit. And like, okay, fuck the stealth, fuck the hiding that we're here. Spectre gunship came out, started established a circular rotational pattern over the target with the guns consistently aiming at the center and firing a howitzer. There's no subtlety about it. Let's put it that way. It's an amazing thing though, that saved their lives. I think what we should have done, what we could have done is, I mean, first off, we wouldn't know Obama's a dick because he didn't activate anything. He didn't press a go on any unit. He didn't say, okay, we're going to do this for this. I mean, he didn't activate or put one thing in option. He's a commander-in-chief. He may not have given that stand-down order that they got in Tripoli, but whoever gave the order, don't kid yourself. He's commander-in-chief. They were acting within a set of guidelines or pre-existing circumstances or rules for engagement that he had set up before he went to bed that night to get some rest, go blood raising in Las Vegas. He made the circumstances, the preconditions, and the rules by which that decision was made. Don't kid yourself. Who else would have made that decision besides him? Or who else would have established the rules, the prerequisites for making those engagement decisions besides the president? Nobody. Nobody. Well, like all the scandals going around, we're supposed to believe that he's all detached now and he doesn't know what's going on. When this guy's a micromanager and he was from the very beginning, he always has been. No, he's still a micromanager, but now he's using this as a protection, a defense mechanism to keep himself out of the freaking spotlight of, shame, let's say. So I mean, Obama didn't activate one unit. He didn't set the FEST team. The FEST team, which is geared to investigate and deal with these sort of things, was not even told, like, hey, pack your stuff up. We may get there in time, but we need to go. Hey, the C-110 force, the extremis force, they're geared to doing this kind of stuff, removing people from hostile environments. They are geared for this shit. On Alert 60 in Europe, in Croatia, they could have been there 4 hours. 4 hours. That's 3 before it was over. They could have been there for 3 before it was over. 2 guys might not have died. C-110, Alert 60, Croatia, could have been there. They weren't activated. They weren't called to go. Alert 60, by the way, means that they are 60 minutes away from their gear at any one given time. They can be on a plane going somewhere ready to rock within 60 minutes all the time. That is their order, their setup, their standby. They have to be ready to rock that quick at any given moment. They can't go like out drinking on town and be more than 60 minutes from their gear. They shouldn't even be getting drunk. They have alert 30s even when shit gets hot, and they know they might have a serious situation coming up. They're anticipating something potentially. So I'd say 9/11, they probably should have been, and they may have been. Aircraft carriers, a lot of times you have a plane on alert 5. He's ready to rock, so he can be at the engagement. If the guys up there getting in trouble on patrol around the aircraft carrier, there's this guy on alert 5, so he can be there fast. That's what the alert status is. It's an alert, and whatever that number is, that's how long it takes you to get your fucking ass on the way. Alert 5, alert 30, alert 60. Within that time frame, that minute time frame, never hours usually, you are on your way to freaking lay down the thunder. However, our best option in Benghazi would have been F-16s to Aviano. You hear this bullshit about a tanker fucking not being there available over the Mediterranean. That's bullshit. You don't need a tanker because you have Sigonella that the drones we had overhead were flying out of, which has jet fuel, has service crews, has all that good stuff at the tip of Italy, which is right across it's a hop and a skip across a small puddle to Benghazi for an F-16. And so you hit Sigonella on the way there, and you hit it on the way back. Refuel in, refuel out. Boom, boom. Don't even get the pilot, don't even get out of the cockpit. Done. And you start to get the first couple going, you send within 15, 20, or more. Then you can start spacing them out once you get an overhead rotation patterns established. But that way, you can always have 3, 4 dudes overhead and have 16s. There's enough. We have 2 squadrons, I think, at Aviano. We could do that. We could establish an overhead rotation of fighter jets that are loaded to bear You know that. I mean, here's what I would have done. And these guys probably never had fire around, because I would have taken one of those. Have you ever been underneath one like this and you don't know what's coming? Ooh, I know what's coming, but I mean, like who's the bad guys and don't know what's coming. And all of a sudden over a freaking ridgeline, F-16, you hear something coming. What's that? I was over a ridgeline. 100 feet up the ground, full afterburner, like skimming the ridge tops, like sitting F-16 down Main Street in between the buildings, 100 feet off the ground, afterburner. Those guys wouldn't even be able to hear, walk, or think straight for a day. They didn't see it coming. I mean, and plus just the scary factor of the F-16 on full afterburner coming 100 feet off the ground. Those little freaking towel talkers would have fucking kicked rocks and fucking picked up their sticks and went somewhere else and played a different fucking game, because you know what? Uncle Sam's here to win. We didn't do that. That's a way to win that battle without firing a shot. We didn't do that, though. We left him out to die. Men that were prepared for 17 years, one of them, to give his life for his country, and it never happened. But years later, after he has put those 17 years in, successfully lived through all those different missions with the SEALs, done all these different things to help our country, and now it's come to a point where he's doing it as a private contractor, and that's when he dies and gets left out to dry. And how do you think his family felt when they brought his body back in a coffin with a flag fucking draped over it? And they said to his parents, "We're gonna get the guy who did that video." I would have been suspicious if I was them right when I heard that, but let me tell you something. None of disrespect. That shows for those families. This is the heart. When you've seen, those young men will go out. You've seen these people that aren't young boys, they ain't even men yet, go out and die for their country. But any American, especially ones like them, when you leave them out to die, and not only do you do that, but you lie to their family, and you don't take the responsibility that's rightly yours for being a bitch, Mr. Barack Obama, and walking away from your responsibility as commander-in-chief to protect the men you're their boss, and they serve us at your command. To leave them out to dry, as if that wasn't disgraceful and fucking enough. You have to lie to their mothers, their fathers, their sisters, their brothers, their wives, and their kids. That's some video. It's even almost more disrespectful when you think about it, because not only you did that to them, now you take this guy into video and infringe on his First Amendment right, and he's still rotting in a jail cell. It's disgusting. It's like, you fucking violate the Constitution and solve it with another violation. You should be in prison. In fact, Mr. Obama, if true justice was to be had, you should be given the death penalty. Because you are guilty through absolute negligence for their death. You are guilty of their death by just complete sheer culpability through negligence. I mean, you are culpable. You did nothing, didn't activate a single unit, which is your responsibility, and you're the only person that could have done it. And they died. I would say manslaughter charges are due for you and Hillary Clinton for indirectly causing the death of the first two. For the second two, Mr. President, those men were your responsibility. They were your charge. That we, as the taxpayers, your boss, gave you. And you failed absolutely, miserably, in the most disgraceful fashion I can think of possible. And for that, you are unworthy of every moment that you have from that second forth, every moment you have had and will have, will applaud you. When people look at you, say yes, Mr. President. You are not the commander-in-chief. You are the liar-in-chief. You are the supreme violator of the Constitution. A man who is not worthy to stand in another American's presence, especially those who have served. And to the families of the men who have served and died under your command, and not just them, Mr. President, every single one whose hands you have tied through bullshit rules of engagement. You should lay there prostrate before them. Beg for their mercy as you hold the sword up over your head like this. And see if they don't pick them like they did in ancient times. And see if all of them don't pick one of them at least, don't pick that thing up and not forgive you. I, a Christian man, don't know if I could resist that. You kneeled before me, held the sword up, and said, "I know my sins. I lay myself before you. I might just go to hell to do it. Just to know. So I didn't have to count on somebody else. Just so I could get the deed done. I don't have to worry about everybody else being nice to you." Y'all, so they listen to everything we do now. Verizon, our emails, our phones, everything. This is YouTube. It's part of Google. Just say, I'm not actually going to do that as a disclaimer. I'm not going to assassinate the president. I want to hit him with a sword. Don't freaking paint me as such. If you do so, do it in your ignorance. Go ahead, fine then. I don't give a fuck. Serious. Our president is a lying piece of trash. I hope this, for you, the guy with the little magpul symbol next to his video, I hope this was informative. Because these are the facts. Undisputable, unquestionable, from people I know and from myself, from things we've researched, from things we just happen to know. From the minds of military men that have talked, that know things. This is all truth. Take it to the bank. Cash the check. This is the real Benghazi. This is the real scandal. This is not nothing, Mr. James Carville, who said this is it's not a Benghazi scandal. It's a scam. You know, cute Southern accent. Mr. James Carville, you can sit with your leftist liberal presidents and defend them. But anybody who defends Benghazi and defends the president over Benghazi or Extortion 17, you got kids, just next time you look at them, think, am I a good man? Am I worthy of this child that God's given me to raise? It may seem like I'm touching a little too close to home. That's on purpose. Because you cannot call yourself a good man. You cannot say that you are pure of heart and you are providing a good role model for that young person that you have been entrusted with, and if you support the president, are failing, and support a murderer. Lie for a liar who's lying about murder. You can't support that kind of shit and say you're a good man. The price for supporting that is your very soul, your integrity. You support a murdering liar with lies to help him get away with that lie, especially one that big. Let me just say, our actions have nothing to do with our salvation. It's all about if we truly believe in Jesus in our heart. But the standard of whether or not you truly believe, how serious and meaningful, when you say, I believe God, and you die someday, how serious you have to be, you just raise the threshold, son. You raise the threshold. God's going to look at you and say, oh, you really want to be saved? You serious? But you covered for a murderer that you knew was a murderer. And he looks in your soul. What are you going to see? What he sees. You think he's going to think you're serious enough? Point is, you sell your soul. That's a hard thing to get back. I ain't saying it ain't possible, but it requires some very deep searching, some coming clean, and some true inner reflection. As a poor murderer, to prop up his lies with more lies, you are not a good man. Those men that died that night were good men. And their families don't have them anymore. And their families were lied to about it. But one last damning fact. I know I've gone on for a long time, and I thank you all for watching if you still are. But one last damning fact. One last damning thing. You know what a laser designator is, right? Point at a target, so a missile hits it, fire from a plane. They were using their laser designator, one of them was that night when they were on that rooftop, when it was Doran. They were pointing it at the mortar team because they had an elevation difference. They could aim a laser where they could make the missile hit the target and damage and get it stopped. If you ever use one, you got enemy right, but you got some. I've never been in a situation like this, but I mean, you use a laser designator, and you're on a rooftop, let's say, like they were, and there's guys right in the street, right in front of you, shooting at you, trying to take your life. You want to shoot those guys right there. The only reason that mortar team is out of your rifle round's reach, the only reason you aim at that thing, that laser designator, the only reason you'd be doing that instead of shooting the guys below you would be if you thought somebody was upstairs coming to help you. If somebody lied to you in your last moments of your life, and said, "Oh, don't worry there, we got you, buddy, help's on the way." Maybe we knew that drone was loaded and we didn't use it, we didn't fire it. And we left those missiles sitting on those wings of that drone to die. We left them sit there and left them there to die. What about that? What if somebody told them the second drone, because they changed them out. There's two overhead, and there's a brief overlap, but they did it because the first one got low on fuel. They traded them out, got the other one in sight before the first one was out. Why was that one not loaded? By the time it left base to go replace the other one, they knew this was going on. Like I said, maybe even worse, it was loaded. And these guys knew it, but they never fired the missile on it. Nothing there died. And in their last moments, they had hope. They had hope. The country gave them hope and then left them there to die. I know that's a fact. Because you don't do what they did and point that laser at that fucking target when there's guys that want to kill you right here. They thought they were going to make it. Those men on that rooftop, I said those men because you know what? We recovered the rifle they were firing, the belt-fed rifle. They had blood on it, like splatter, like they got hit by a mortar round, but they didn't die right away. They got hit by a mortar round. We recovered, that gun on that rooftop had bloody grips. The bloody grips of a man who got hit by a mortar round and picked it back up and kept firing it. After he got hit by a mortar round, a direct hit. That American, one of them, I like to think they both did. I know it's impossible, but I imagine they both would have the same amount of courage if they were in the administration, but one of them did. Picked up and fired a little bit more until his last breath left him. A lot of people don't know that. If you really wanted to follow the cards, you could find out how I know that if you're in the government. There's not a lot of people that know that, and you probably find out who I know. That's besides the point. I don't give a fuck. No near the people that I know through have already gotten the shit fucking coming down their heads. So it's beyond the point they don't. Well, I don't give a fuck about saying anymore because fucking the shit's already rolling downhill, and they can go fuck themselves in the administration. We don't care. None of us do. Those men were lied to in their last breaths. And even after they got hit by that mortar round, and they probably, that one, whichever one was that lived, I don't know if both, but for that little bit longer, he picked that gun up to save more, to keep trying to save Americans. After he figured out his government had lied to him. At that point, he had to know. God bless you. God save our country. Thank you for watching me. If you hear what I have to say, spread this truth. Spread this truth. Spread it all around. The truth is powerful. And when you speak with the facts and the clarity that I have just given you, and you can put it down like I did, and tell them that the only person who could give that order, or any circumstance that any order was given under was president, so any order that was given was his order. You lay it down like that. It is irrefutable. Irrefutable. And tell me if leaving Americans to die as their commander does not constitute an act of treason. Mr. Obama, again, I'm not threatening. But I'd say you're in danger of pitchforks and torches right now, holding their shit that's coming between now and Benghazi. I'm surprised you don't see it. There's not a citizenry coming up on that White House right now, just about ready to pull you out of your fucking bed. Pitchforks and torches, fucking tar and feathers. And I don't dislike him because he's black. I dislike him because he's a treasonous socialist. A seditious one at that. Seeking to undermine the very founding of our country. And any man who believed what he believed, regardless of his skin color, I would hate with the same fervor. No matter what color his skin was. He could be white. If he believed what Barack Obama believes, I would hate him the same. God says I'm not supposed to hate, but I hate people who let Americans die. I hate people who get away with that. I think that actually might be a righteous hate. Have a good night. Check my YouTube channel out, motherfucker. Speak the truth. It's power. Not like liberal truth of power. Like the real truth. Power.